Hey everybody, thanks for coming to check out a engine demo for Curse of Eternal Darkness. And the reason I say it's like a game engine demo instead of an actual game demo is that I created special areas specifically for this demo, like a town and a dungeon and a story, none of which will appear in the final game. They were made specifically for this demo. And if you don't know what this game is, it is like an old school retro kind of RPG. Excuse me, I would say very much modeled over like the gold box games, things like Bard's Tale and Wizardry and that sort of thing. You'll probably see a lot of things that remind you of those old games, specifically the gold box games. They were my favorite, and you'll definitely see those influences in here. So without wasting any more time, I'm going to get straight into it. I'm going to start creating characters. Now, this game allows you to create 6 characters. You create a party of characters. Now, one thing I will say up front is that unlike some other games, there's only one race in this game. You play human. There's no elves or dwarves or anything like that available for the player. They do exist in the world, but this is a human-centric game. It won't be obvious in the demo because I didn't make it obvious in the demo story, but I mean in the story that's going to be in the actual game, that will be important. So that said, let's go ahead and start creating some characters. So we click and we create a character, and right off the bat we are met with a screen where we can see that we have multiple attributes, and we can select different professions. Now I'm going to go over the attributes really quickly. Most of them are the kind of things that if you've played RPGs you're going to be familiar with. Starting with strength. Strength is pretty much your measure of your might or whatever. The higher your strength, the better you have a chance to hit in melee weapons and to do damage with melee weapons in combat. Next is intellect. Obviously intellect will affect things such as spellcasting and things of that nature. You have agility after that. That will affect things like your ability to dodge in combat, so it affects your armor rating. It plays into some like saving throws and such. You'll see all this in play later on. Next is spirit. Spirit is really important for divine spellcasters. It will help. It improves like things like their healing. It improves things like their spellcasting abilities. Then we have endurance, which plays straight into the health of the character, their ability to resist poisons, diseases, etc., etc. And then finally we have charm, which plays into skills like persuasion, and talking to people. Now, one thing you'll notice here is that there are no negative modifiers to any attribute that's rolled. They range from 0 to 5, so there's no bad attribute. I mean, you could roll with a strength of 3 if you really wanted to. It's not going to give you any negative to anything that you do. You can you can make a viable character with any attributes that you roll. So there's not really any bad attributes. There are just some that are better than others. We'll just leave it at that. So usually I like to start off with a warrior, and over here we have 12 classes as well that you can play. I'm not going to go into all those. You can probably read the names while they're sitting over here and get an idea of what they are, so I don't need to explain what they are. But I usually start with a warrior as my first character, so I'm going to go ahead and roll until I get a good strength, a good agility, and a good endurance. All 3 I think are really important for the warrior. So let's see if we can find 3 decent scores for them. Don't really like that. That's not too bad. A strength of 18, an agility of 14, and an endurance of 20. So we're going to go with that. We're going to click the warrior. We can see that the warrior has a base health of 12. He has no mana because he's not a spellcaster, and he gets 8 skill points. 8 base starting skill points. Anyway, we may not get that many per level. Here's a little bit of a blurb about warriors. I'm not going to take the time to read all that. Every class has some information about them. I'm going to go ahead and select this class. I've selected it, so I'll confirm it. The next thing a character gets is perks. They all do something different. Again, I don't know that I want to go through all of these. I'd like to get into the heart of the engine here. So I'll just pick the ones that I would normally pick for myself. In the case of a warrior, I'm going to pick damage dealer. And we click on that, we find out the character has become adept at dealing damage to their enemies taking this perk grants the character a damage bonus equal to their level with any melee or ranged weapon. So at first level, they'll have a +1 to their damage, level 2, +2, etc., etc. And I'm going to go ahead and select that perk. And you'll see here that the characters get a perk at first level, 4th level, 8th level, 12th, and 15th. 15th is the highest level that this game goes to. You can't go beyond 15th level. So we'll go next. Now we're looking at the skills that the characters get. Skills are interesting because they do a lot more than you might think. If you have skills in weapons, it improves your chance to hit with that weapon. It can also improve your damage with that weapon. When it comes to armor, if you have more skill points in the armor that you're wearing, it will improve your movement in combat, which can be really important when you're wearing heavy armor, and it can improve your actual armor rating. And then the general skills, obviously the higher they are, the more that they affect different things. Like devices is used to disarm traps and things of that nature. So obviously you'd want to have someone who has the ability to unlock doors and that sort of thing. Some skills are done on an individual basis, which means that like if someone is trying to disarm a trap, that's probably going to be one character doing that. But something like stealth, for example, if the entire party is trying to sneak past a group of monsters, it's actually what I created a group check for that. So everyone's stealth is important. And there might be a case where individual stealth is important. So just so you know, there's some skills are important in the game. We'll just leave it at that. Now, excuse me. You may notice that there's already numbers here as well, and that's because, like being a warrior, they already got a head start on all weapons and all armor. These things over here are based on various different attributes. Like intimidation, the warrior gets a bonus to intimidation, and it's added to his base attribute. So you don't start at 0 for most skills, unless you have like a 0 in your attribute and your profession, your class doesn't give you any bonuses of any kind. So now that I've explained it on one character, let me go ahead and grab some skills. Now, I know for this demo that I tend to buy a lot of maces because they're the cheapest thing and you don't get a lot of starting gold. So I'm going to go ahead and put at least 1 point in that. I'm going to throw some points into different armor types, the cheaper armors. And just so you know, if you need to see what a skill does, you can actually click on it and it will give you some information like long blades. It tells you your current rank, which is, yeah, that is correct. I wanted to make sure that was correct. Increases a character's chance to hit and do damage with the following long bladed weapons, and that would be these 3 weapons. Same with armor. Let's tell you which armor it uses. If you click on like devices, it'll tell you what it does. So, and you don't have to spend all the points when you create your character. If you want, you can leave them. And you can assign them later. I do it beforehand because it's just, it's I'd rather have the points in it than not. But you can definitely sit on points. All right, so let me throw another point or 2 into intimidation. We'll go ahead and throw into some blades just in case I get some of those, and then we'll say next, and we'll confirm the skill changes. Okay, so now we select an icon, a combat icon for our character. And if you hover over the icons, they'll actually animate, which is kind of cool. You can see what they look like. Whichever icon you pick from which group will also determine the sex of your character, so it's automatic. You can't like pick this one right here and then choose to be male. That's a female icon, so you're going to be female. So I'm going to go ahead and make a male warrior. I like this icon right here, so we're going to go ahead and grab this guy and say sure. Now, here you can create your name for your character. If you want to enter a name, you can. If I wanted to name this character Bob, I could do that. Or I can just, go through random names till I find one I like, including if I only want a first name. I can just say, hey, give me first names. I'm going to go through till I find a name I like. I'm going to go ahead and just randomly see if I can find, there we go, Cain the Wanted. That's a pretty cool name for a warrior, so we'll go with that. Okay, so now that I've touched on all the stuff about my first character, I'll probably zip through the other ones pretty quick so you guys can see the actual gameplay. But real quick, we'll click view so you can see what the character sheet looks like for the character. It shows all his attributes, his health, all of his different saving throws are here. I can choose to delete or I can create another character over him. I'm actually just gonna, like I said, I'm gonna fly through the other characters so I can get to the heart of the game. So let's see. This time I want to do a barbarian. So I want to do the endurance is a little bit low. And like I said, there's no bad attributes. I just prefer to have my three highest ones when the warrior classes, usually in strength, agility, and endurance if I can make it happen. Actually, that one wasn't too bad. I should have kept that one. That one's not too bad either. We'll go with this one here. Okay, so we'll do a barbarian. Um, select the class. We'll say yes. The barbarian, I will give tough skin. The skin of the character is harder and tougher than most, giving them more resistance to damage overall, and this perk grants the character more health points equal to twice their level. So right off the bat, this character will get 2 additional health points. So we'll say yes, and we'll go ahead and grab some skills, and you can see the skills here were a little bit lower. Good with axes. I know that I'm going to have to pick the mace just because it's going to be the cheapest weapon I can get to start out with right now. Let's see, intimidation as well. And we'll go ahead and make a female barbarian. We'll go with this one right here. Gaia the Mighty. I don't really want to have 2 the names. I've already got Cain the Wanted, so let's actually make her only have a first name because, you know, maybe her tribe, they don't have last names or something. Faye. We'll just call her Faye. That works. Okay. Moving on. Let's see. That's not too bad. An endurance +2 isn't too bad. We'll go ahead and create a knight. Select it. Yes. We'll go ahead and make this quick. Like I said, damage avoidance. It gives a +1 bonus to their armor rating. Let's see, next. Grab some skills real quick. Let's see. Long blades. And let's see. Persuasion. Throw some points in there. Now, let's see our knight. And we'll make this guy the knight. And I'm going to go ahead and enter a name here. We're going to call him Sir Dobbins. Just so, you know, we can have a name in there that I actually created as well. As you can see when you scroll over the characters, you know, it animates. This is important later because if a character dies, their picture will become like a skull. Because you can access this character creation menu in the training halls in the game. Click here and let's see. So now we want to create a scout. A scout is kind of like a thief in other games. You know, he's really good at disabling traps and such, and, you know, using stealth and things of that nature. So he needs to have a really good agility. That's actually pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and go with that. He has less health, obviously. So select class. We'll say yes. Let's see what we can do. Make him quick-footed. This means he gets a bonus movement speed of +1, even when wearing armor. So even if he's like greatly encumbered, he's wearing heavy armor in combat, he's always going to have a +1 to his movement, which can be really helpful if you're carrying a lot of stuff or you're wearing armor that's just weighing you down or carrying lots of gold. Movement's really important in combat. So real quick, let's see. Short blades, even though I'm not going to be able to get most of these weapons right now. And we want this so we can definitely disable traps and stuff. There's no limit. Like if you want to come in here and you start with like 8 skill points, which I think everybody starts with, I'll have to check into that actually. But if you want to throw like all 8 points into one thing, that's fine. You're going to be like a master at one thing. And I'm all about letting people play how they want to play. So if that's you, go for it. I like to spread my skill points around a little bit. We'll pick this guy. Redmond Pierce. Okay, that sounds like he's got an interesting backstory. Alright, now I'm going to create a priest because I need a healer. And there's several spellcasting classes in the game, but I like the priest. And she's going to need a good spirit. Let's see if we can get that spirit a little higher. That's not too bad. We'll go with that. Like I said, you don't have to have max points for this to work. See, she's only supposed to have base skill points of 4, so I may have uncovered a bug here. Let's find out. Now I'm going to give her Magically Inclined. This is the only perk that requires you to be a spellcaster. I mean, you can give it to a non-spellcaster, but it's completely wasted. It says the character feels the flows of magic and can tap into them easily. This perk grants the character bonus mana points equal to twice their level. So actually having extra mana is fantastic. So you don't always have to take it at first level, but it doesn't hurt. Let's see, blunt weapons for sure, leather armor, and then persuasion will drop a point in there, and one in arcana just for fun. We'll make this our priest. She's got the mace going on. Susan Belden. Nah, I don't like that name. Flint. We'll find something here. I don't want to spend too much time looking for a name. Morgaine Winder, sure. All right. So for those of you who don't like making names, I went out of my way to make sure that there's a good random name generator and ways that you can generate names. So I hope there's somebody who appreciates that. And then finally, we're going to go with a sorcerer. That agility is kind of low, but like I said, there's no bad scores. What's her intelligence? 10. I want to get that higher. That's much better. Spirit's low, though. So let me see if I can get spirit and intelligence. There we go. All right. Sorcerer. And I forgot to look at the skill points of the last person to see if there's a bug there. I don't promise this demo to be bug-free. That's just the way it goes. Nope, she only got 4 skill points. So, cloth armor, a ranged weapon, and a pole arm. We'll give her that, and one in arcana. For some reason, I was thinking they were all getting 8 skill points, but that's probably not the case. Okay. And then we'll go with this icon. Penny Winder, sure, why not? Okay, so here we have our complete party, and I'm going to go ahead and start the game. Now, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to read along to the text. And again, the game you're getting ready to see, the demo you're getting ready to see is not the actual game that I'm planning to release. I just created like I said, a small little adventure for this demo just to show off the engine. All right. The notice on the wall offered wealth to those willing to answer the call. The town of Darkwell needed mercenaries. If you don't like the way that I read, you can feel free to mute. I don't promise to be the greatest, have the greatest speaking voice. Within a day, you assembled your group. You had no weapons or armor, but you hoped the few gold pieces you possessed would buy you what you needed at your destination. The trip led you through the vast wildwoods, known home of wily bandits and mischievous sprites, but the only danger you faced was the biting cold wind that descended upon you. After several days of rough travel, punctuated by heavy snowfall, you eventually made your way to the town of Darkwell, far to the north of where you started. With your boots sinking heavily into the snow-covered ground, you pulled out the notice and showed it to the gate guards. They told you to seek out the mayor in the town hall to the east. They sent a messenger ahead to alert her to your arrival. Nearby townsfolk regarded you with keen interest when they saw the messenger rush by, but they kept their distance, preferring to seek refuge from the cold rather than approach you and sate their curiosity. Eventually, you passed through the town gates, ready to begin your adventure. Okay, so now we're in the actual adventure itself, and I've taken a step forward and I'm looking around. Before I get into the heart of the adventure, I want to show you some different options. One of the game options that you have is the ability to turn on move buttons, which I'll show you what that means in a second, and your text speed. You may have noticed that the text was scrolling across the screen. You can actually set it to instant if you'd like. What that means is it doesn't scroll, it just shows up, and the button is there immediately for you to hit continue, or whatever. I like the scrolling, so I'm going to leave it on, but I am going to show you what the move buttons are. This game can be played completely with the mouse if you want, and there are move buttons in combat and as well as here in the in this screen. As you can see, that's a training academy. But yeah, so you can move around with move buttons. Now I like using the keyboard, but it's here for people who want it. And you may notice that these move buttons look a little rough. I need to touch them up a little bit. I can see that. But they're good enough for the demo, and I just wanted to show them off that there is an option within the game to play like with a touchscreen or with the mouse if you'd like. So let me come out here and turn this back off. So the first thing we really need to do is go get some weapons and armor. Now, since I built this demo, I know where everything is. I know all the stores are over here, so we're going to start with Bandor's Armory. It says, welcome to Vandor's Armory. Feel free to look around. You won't find better armor anywhere else in this region. So this is a store, and you can click on the items to find out things about them, and we can look at each person's inventory as well. Now this is Penny Winder's inventory, and as you can see, we can scroll through each character and their inventory. They don't have anything in their inventory. We can also see their gold down here. We can also pull the gold of the party together. We can resplit it at any point as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and try to buy, I'm going to try and go with leather armor. And I can click on it and I can see different things about the armor. The skill type required was leather, which you saw the skills earlier. Its armor rating is 5, so it adds 5 to your armor rating. Obviously, the higher the number, the better. And it has a spell failure rate of 7%. So spellcasters in this game can use any weapon and wear any armor. This is true of all classes. But if you do, if you wear heavier armor, the heavier the armor it is when you're a spellcaster, the better the chances that your spell's going to fail. Now, you actually won't see that in this demo because I haven't written that part yet. It's in there. It's ready to go. I didn't turn it on. I found this out yesterday when I was playtesting this, and I'm like, well, that's okay. Spells will just work, so I can show them off anyway. But just so you know, when the final game comes out, wearing heavier armor, a mage can get away with it. A priest can get away with it, but their spells might fail. It tells you some stuff about it. We're going to go ahead and buy it. And it tells me it costs 40 gold pieces. We'll say yes. So what I can do here is I can just go through. Oh, wait a minute. I wanted to buy a shield as well. Because shields add +3. Like this shield adds a +3 to my armor rating. And it would add +12% to spell failure if I was a spellcaster. So I'm just going to go through here really quick and buy some light leather armor and some shields for some of my frontline people. Light leather. Gotta watch how much gold I'm spending though. A couple of my playtests through this, I have actually run out of money and was not able to buy a weapon for at least one of my characters, which, it's not the best. It's not where you want to be necessarily starting the game. Oh, you know what? Actually, I didn't mean to buy. I'm going to sell that back, even though I'm going to lose money on it. I went one character too far, so that might have screwed things up. We'll just get her heavy cloth armor and no shield. She's a spellcaster now. We're going to come back out here. We're going to go down the street to Dargon's Weaponry, where we see need a weapon. You've come to the right place. Let me know if you see anything you like. Now we have weaponry. So I need to remember that. Okay, so we'll buy her a sling. Oh, not enough gold because I haven't pulled it. That was the other thing too. If any of you played the gold box games, where you might recognize this whole pulling of gold thing, I think some other games did that as well. A lot of times when you would leave the store, it would be like, oh, you've left some money here or whatever. I've actually programmed this so that when you leave, it automatically just redistributes the money to all the characters. So if you've put the money in a pool and you've forgotten to put it all, back in on the character, you don't have to worry about losing the money. But we are going to go ahead and pull the gold back together. And I'm going to buy a sling for her. And I'm not going to have a lot of... I am actually really hurting for money. Buying that leather armor accidentally has actually kind of screwed me. So this is going to be fun. I'm going to be buying daggers instead of maces now for most of my characters. For the two frontline people, though, I'm going to go ahead and buy maces. Now, I'm also going to point out that everything in this game, when it comes to how it shows damage and such for spells and stuff, I've actually put it in dice notation. So if you don't know how to read dice notation later on in the manual or whatever, it will explain how that works. This means, for those that don't know, that this weapon, when it does damage, does 2d4, which is a 4-sided die. So basically 2 4-sided dice are rolled and it does 2 damage. You don't actually see the dice roll, but I just decided to express it in that way because a lot of RPG fans and a lot of old games, so there were some old games that did that. Let's see. So I can probably, actually I don't want to afford any more maces here. And I know I'm probably babbling and going off script a bit, but I just want to make sure I cover everything. So sorry for the ramble. Okay, so we've got everything. We got 6 gold to spare Not a lot, but better than nothing. So we're going to go ahead and equip stuff real quick. Now you can click on a character at any time and see a lot of stuff about them. You can see their character sheet, and you can go from one character to the next and see the different stuff about them. You can go into their inventory. You can trade gold from here. You can look at different stuff. This is where all their equipped items go. So when I click on an item, I can see stuff about it. I can equip an item. I can trade an item. So if you have something you want to give to another character, you can. You can use an item if the item is usable, which in the case of leather armor it wouldn't be, or you can drop an item. And just to show you, if I click on this and try to use it, it'll say, hey, item can't be used that way. Uses for stuff like, wands and your scrolls and your potions and things of that nature. So we're going to go ahead and equip these items real quick. And we're just going to go through each one of the characters, and I'm just going to do this real quick. And let's see. Hopefully this doesn't take too long to do. Oh, let's see. And we'll give her a sling, so that's a ranged weapon. Okay, and you notice here also characters have a weight and a max weight. This is the number of weight units they can carry. I don't say pounds or anything like that because it doesn't actually work out that way. So I just call them weight units, and it's based on their strength. It's like 10 times their strength. So she apparently has a 19 strength, and she's only carrying 13 weight units, so she's fine. As we go through I don't think anybody's going to be weighed down at this point. But if this number here turns yellow, their movement speed and combat will be reduced. If it goes red, which means they're encumbered or over encumbered, their movement speed will slow down even more. So it's really, really important. And both the items and the gold, play into this. So we'll come out of this, and real quick, I'll also show you that at any point you can go to the skill screen, and like I said, you can see, like if you had points, you would be able to use them. You can go to the perk screen, and again, look at your perks. You can look at any perk you don't have. Like I don't have this one, but I can read about it. Obviously, I can't click on the one that I've already picked, but I can click on it up here. And if you're a spellcaster, you can look at your spells. I believe she's a sorcerer. She has 3 spells to start with. We can go over these later, I guess, but actually I'll go over them now since I'm looking at them. Flaming Bolt, which is like a bolt of fire that does 1d4 per level. Stun enemy. If the enemy gets a saving throw, if they fail their saving throw, they're stunned for 3 rounds, can't do anything. And Camp Camouflage, which when you're trying to sleep in a dangerous place, you reduce the chance of being attacked while camping by like 50%. So she has 21 mana, and her current spell failure chance is 2%. But as I mentioned earlier, you're not going to see that in the demo because I actually haven't implemented that 100% yet. So let's come out here. Okay, so we can see now everybody's armor. It's much higher now than it was. Hers is still low, but that's because she's in light leather, or light cloth rather. This is mana, health. So these are all green. Like when health is low, like when it's below the maximum amount, it'll turn yellow. Same with mana. If you have a condition, it'll be red usually. If you are ready to level, like the name, the class, and the level will all change color. So that's how you'll know when a character is ready to level. You can also check it at any time in the training hall, which I'm going to run over to real quick and show you. So if we go into the Training Academy, it says you enter Darkwell's Training Academy. Welcome adventurers. If you seek training, you've come to the right place. And if I go to train character, it says click on a character to train them, it'll tell you how much experience they need if they're not ready to train. So that one needs 1,000. So I'm going to go and come out of here. And at any point I can go to create new character. And this is what I was saying about you can come back here. So if one of your characters dies, you can't afford to have them resurrected for whatever reason, which happens a lot at low levels. You can actually just ditch the character and create a brand new one and continue playing. So we're going to return to game and leave the training hall. Okay, so we know, so I've got a journal here. If we read the journal, the only quest we currently have is meet the mayor. It says the guards at the gate informed us that the mayor is waiting to meet us. They said her office is in the town hall to the east of the main gates. So these are the main gates right here. So if we're going to go east, we'll go here. That's the inn, which we don't want. This is a temple. I know this already. Obviously, I know everything that's in the demo. So I can skip to the important parts. We're going to go now to the town hall, which is here. It says, as you step through the door of the spacious town hall, a woman at the front desk moves to intercept you. Greetings, you must be the mercenaries the gate guards told us had arrived. We have been expecting you. The mayor is anxious to meet you. You will find her in her office down the hall to the south. Please go and see her. The woman gestures down the hall behind her and then returns to her desk. Okay, so she said she's down the hall to the south, I believe. But there's some stuff to the north, so I'm going to go that way real quick and do this. It says, as you attempt to move down this hallway, you're stopped by a group of armed guards standing near the doorway at the far end. This area is off limits. You must leave. They escort you back down the hall and then resume their posts. Now that right there was just a shout out to Polar Radiance. Some of you will get that and some of you won't. Just put that in there for fun. Okay, so we're going to go down now and see the mayor. It says, you enter the large office decked with books. You enter a large office decked with books and ornate figurines. The smell of incense surrounds you like a comfortable blanket. From the back of the room, the mayor beckons for you to enter, pointing to a group of cushioned chairs. Welcome, friends. In these dark times, we need heroes. You are not the first mercenaries to respond to our call for help. There were others, but I fear they have not been successful. Goblins have been testing the walls, no doubt hoping to raid our food storage. So far, 3 citizens and 2 guards were killed when they exploited a weak spot. I feel it will only get worse as winter approaches. My scouts discovered the goblins' lair to the east. They have made a home in the abandoned gem mine just beyond the wild wood's edge. We sent another group of mercenaries in there a week ago, but haven't heard from them since they left. Attempts at diplomacy have failed. Only a show of force will get the attention of these foul goblins. Your mission is quite simple. Bring me the head of their leader. Without a leader, it is my belief the goblins will flee the area. Do this, and I will see to it that you are rewarded greatly. When you're ready to travel, inform the guards at the gate, and one of my scouts will lead you to the mines. The mayor engages you in idle conversation for a bit, answering your questions politely. Eventually, you leave her office. Now, real quick, as I said earlier, this story is not anything special. It's pretty simple. I created it just for the demo. So, if you were expecting something to knock your socks off there, you're not going to find that in the demo. If we look at the journal now, we'll find that our quest has changed to now to the Goblin Leader. The Mayor of Darkwill has requested that we bring her the head of the Goblin Leader from the abandoned gem mine. Now, when you have more quests, obviously you'll be able to hover over them and see information about them. This is the only quest we have now, because we've already fulfilled the one where we had to meet the Mayor. Okay, so we're going to head out and actually go over to the main gates, because we've already got all our equipment. It says you return to the gates and explain to the guards what the mayor told you. One of the scouts will meet you outside the gates and escort you to the old mines whenever you're ready. You thank the guards for the information. So, as soon as we exit through here, we can head out to the dungeon. It says you return to the forest outside of Darkwell. Once there, you meet a scout who is more than willing to show you to the mines. An hour later, you find yourself standing in the entrance of a large system of caves. Remnants of old mining tools and broken carts litter the entrance. Somewhere in the distance, you hear a loud echoing bang of something metal hitting stone. Okay, so now we have entered the old gem mines. And now is where the exploration and fun begins. So, movement in this is pretty much step-based. You probably noticed that before. It says you enter a large area that appears to have once been a recreational area for miners. Broken tables and chairs are strewn about the area, along with various items, including torn and water-soaked books and game pieces. Now, as I said earlier, I love the gold box games. So, to me, it's all about the exposition and storytelling that goes on. So, I don't always have a visual representation of everything. Some people don't like that, and this game will probably not be for them. Okay, so let's see what's behind this door here. It says this room is filled with old trash. As you look around, you notice some of the trash seems to be moving. Large beetles emerge from under the trash and rush to attack you. The other thing I want to point out before I start this combat is you may notice that there's no sound in this game. That's because I haven't put any sound effects in here, so you're not going to hear any sound effects in battle or anything like that. Just me talking, I'm afraid. So we prepare for battle, and the bugs didn't waste any time rushing down to smack one of my characters for 2 points of damage. It was Faye the Barbarian. Now, you can hover the mouse at any time over anyone to see, what their status is, what weapon they're carrying, what status effects they have. Also over the enemy, it won't tell you their hit points or anything like that, just what their what their health, like they're healthy. It'll say, near death, wounded, or whatever. It'll also say if they have status effects. So if we've done something like, stun them or something, it'll say that. So currently it's Kane the one its turn. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the speed down so that we have time to process everything we're seeing here. Now, just like the part of the engine outside of combat where you can move with the arrow keys, or you can also move with the WASD keys, or with the mouse like I showed. The same thing is true in combat. You can move using like these arrow keys over here. You can move using the number pad. You can use with there's like a WASD, QE, ZXC combination thing that you can do. I actually like to use these arrow keys a lot. I find being able to play with just the mouse is a lot of fun. To attack a creature in front of me, I can aim at it, click at it, or I can just run right into it if I have a melee weapon, which I do have a dagger. So I'm going to go ahead and have him attack this bug in front of me. He attacks, does 15 points of damage, and kills him. Now I will stop explaining too much and try to get through the combat a little quicker. We'll just have him move forward with a dagger. He misses. Move this guy around. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and move him up here. Now, for those of you that played the Gold Box games, you may recognize Guard. What Guard is for those of you that play D&D, or even for those of you that don't, it's standing ready so that if an enemy approaches you, you get a free attack on them. So I'm going to go ahead and Guard. And I will show you this as well. If I hover over him, you'll see that now his status effect is that he is guarding. Okay, so this is a spellcaster. So I'm going to use this opportunity to actually cast a spell. Let's cast Flaming Bolt, which will do 1d4 points of damage at this level. So we'll say yes, we'll cast Flaming Bolt. Let's go ahead and hit this one right here in front of us. Now, when you aim at stuff, like I said, you can use the mouse, but you can also do this. You can hit the next, previous, go back and forth. Those of you, again, that play the Gold Box games will recognize this. And I'm just going to go ahead and hit select. And it should select that creature, and it did 1 point of whopping damage to him. We were guarding, so we got to do 7 points of damage to him first. Like I said, I know it's flying by. I could slow it down even more. Maybe go ahead and drop it to 4. And attack him with a dagger, 11 points of damage. He dies. Is anybody wounded? Now, the nice thing about this game, over some games you might have played, is that there isn't really a range for spells. See, he's got 10. So the nice thing is I can grab something like Heal Minor Wounds, which bestows 1d4 or 1d6 points of healing to a character. And even though he's across the battle screen, I can actually still heal him from here. So I'll click on him. We'll get some healing going, 4 points, even though he was only down 1 point. 1 point of damage. Get King wanted up here. We'll try and get through this combat really quickly now. 32 points of damage. That was a critical hit, which is pretty good at first level. So he must have did, oh, another critical hit for 22. So yeah, we pretty much murdered those bugs. Okay, so each survivor received 8 experience points. We'll exit combat. We now go to the treasure screen. You may notice a lot of these screens look the same. That's on purpose, so there's sort of a familiarity to them. They were carrying beetle mandibles. When we click on these, it says a piece of a giant bug's body. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take these because these can be sold for money. And when you're desperate for money early on, everything is important. They weren't carrying any gold at all. If they were, I could have had one character take it, or I could have shared it. So we'll just say exit, and we're back here exploring around. And it doesn't look like there's anything else in here. By the way, if you try to walk through walls, it bumps you into the wall. And let's see, we'll go this way. And if I'm moving too fast, you guys can't follow where I'm going. I can slow down, I guess. And you'll see over here also that there's a coordinates of where you are for those of you who like to map, because right now I don't have a mapping system in the game, but I also tend not to make the maps too big anyway. You're facing the current time, which changes as you move, which, by the way, when you're searching, it'll go even faster, and I kind of want to turn search on. You may notice when I click search, it turned on there. And your location. So I'm going to go ahead and show you this as well, because I told you earlier about the text speed being instant. I'm going to go ahead and click that, so the next thing we see, you'll see that the text comes up instantly instead of scrolling. Just up ahead, you notice several broken cots and boxes. Dirty straw covers the surface of the floor. You figure that this area once served as a sleeping quarters for the miners when the mine was still in operation. So again, just to show how that works, I personally like the scrolling text, but that's me. It says, as you move down the hallway, a group of goblins patrolling the area suddenly appear ahead of you. For a long moment, there is only silence as they stare at you. Okay, so now we can choose to react by either attacking the goblins straight out. We can try to lie to the goblins, we can try to intimidate them, or we can try to trick the goblins. I'm going to try to intimidate the goblins. Let's see if this works. It says you tell the goblins to throw down their weapons and you will show mercy. This angers them. I'm going to guess that didn't work. So there's a group check for intimidation that goes on with the party, and at least half the party has to succeed for it to work, and I don't think that it did. And again, like something else I was pointing out earlier, you'll notice that there are numbers in yellow here, which means they're below the maximum amount. So we're going to fight some goblins now. And these are goblin bashers. So they all have blunt weapons, it looks like. Because we'll also see goblin slashers and goblin slingers. Slingers have slings and goblin slashers have swords. Okay, so we can start with our spellcaster. What can she do? We'll use Divine Blessing. Okay, so here's the 3 spells she has. She has Heal Minor Wounds, which we've seen in action already. She has Divine Blessing. Basically what it does is for 3 rounds, everybody in the party will receive a bonus to damage equal to the priest's current level, which right now is only going to be 1, but that's 1 extra point of damage. And then she has Spiritual Strike, which is a lightning blast that does 2d6 points of electrical damage. Unlike the one that the sorcerer has, it doesn't scale with her level. It'll always be 2d6. But I'm going to throw down Divine Blessing because I want to give everybody a chance to do extra damage. So we'll see. Yes, we'll cast that. We'll see it go off here in a second. There it goes. And there we go. And we'll see now when we hover over everyone that shows they have Divine Blessing. Okay, so these guys are guarding. So if I run up there, I'm going to get smacked by a couple of them. So I'm going to come up on them at an angle so only the one can attack me. Tactics, really important. 3 points of damage to me. I'm actually going to speed this up a little bit. So, all right. We'll go ahead and attack him here. 9 points of damage. Rush forward with a dagger. Oh, I did exactly what I said I wasn't going to do with the other character and just ran right up there. And now she's hurt, so that sucks. All right, so now this guy has already been, see, he's not guarding anymore. Like I said, you can look at him any time to see. So luckily he won't be able to hit me. So 7 points to him. Go ahead and bring this guy forward. It's 15 points, killed him. Not much to say here, just waiting for them to take their turn. Let's see what's my mana looking like. 16. Let's go ahead and cast. Let's stun an enemy. We haven't done that yet. So we're going to go ahead and stun this guy. And when we do, if he doesn't make his save, then he will not be able to do anything for 3 rounds. He'll end up skipping his turn. And we got him. So it said he's stunned. Otherwise, it would have said that he resists a spell. All right, so let's see if we can finish these guys off. I think that she's hurt. She only has 6 health. And the thing about this game is that if you reach 0, the character dies. There's no negative hit points in this. So really important to make sure that you don't let them get to 0. So we'll go ahead and toss some healing on her. 2 points. It could have been better. All right, let's try and help her out and get something off of her there. There we go. I feel like she's in a little less danger now. This guy was guarding, hit for 4. I'm going to have to take a rest after this, because all my characters are hurting a little bit. This guy's paralyzed. It says he skips his turn. You know what? She's got a sling, so we'll just use a ranged weapon and start smacking this guy who's sitting here. Smacked him for 6 points. Ooh, so see? A guy died. Because I want to rush into battle like an idiot. Okay. Try and kill this guy relatively quickly, so we may have to go back to town and create a new character. So, let's see. Alright, so we're done with that. 31 experience points to the survivors. They have a lot of goblin stuff. I also see a potion. Now this symbol here means that this item has not been identified. So it's an unidentified item. So let me grab somebody else here and have them hold on to that. And actually we can sell all this stuff. So I'm going to start splitting this stuff up among different characters. And as you can see, they had 11 gold, so we'll just go ahead and share that. So here's our dead character. So when we look at everybody, you'll see they have different things in their inventory. Actually, does the dead guy have stuff? Because if he has stuff, I probably don't want to keep it with him. Let me camp real quick. I'm going to see if I can rest. Okay, so when you camp, you can select a number of hours to rest. You can rest until the next morning, which whatever time it is, it'll take you all the way to 6 a.m. You can rest until fully healed, or obviously you can exit the camp. When you rest until fully healed, it'll rest until just the health points are up. Mana points may not be all the way full. The way resting works in this is every hour that you rest, you gain 1 health point and 1 mana point on the character. So we're going to try and rest until fully healed. Hopefully we don't have it. I meant to cast Camp Camouflage actually to have to really drive down the chance of us getting an encounter, but maybe we'll get lucky because I think we're almost healed. Okay, because yes, it is in there where you can actually have a random encounter. It actually is programmed, and I have been attacked in here while testing this before. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to exit. It says we travel back to the city of Darkwell because we need to sell some stuff. So I'm going to go here to the first store. Actually, you guys haven't seen this one down here, so we'll go down here. Xenon's Magical Goods. It says, welcome. If you're in need of a potion or a magical crystal, then you take a look at what I have in stock. He has potions of healing, potions of cure poison. He has mana crystals. Mana crystals are basically items that when they're used, once they're consumed, they give mana back to a spellcaster. And then a cloak of armor, which if we look at it, gives us a +2 bonus to our armor rating. But it's very expensive when you look at how much gold we have, because even if we pull our gold, we are really, really, really poor. But what we can do is we can sell some stuff. So we have this rusty mace. We sell for 3 apiece. More rusty maces. What are the goblin cloth armor? Sell for 3 as well. So we'll sell those. We don't want to sell the potion. And I will tell you this, an unidentified item will sell for way less than an actual identified item. And in fact, I can show you and see now if I had the money, because it costs 100 gold pieces to identify an item, I could identify this item. But if I go to sell it, you'll see it only sells for 4 gold pieces, which I'm sure it's worth more than that. What do these mandibles sell for? Well, 1 gold piece. Well, I guess beggars can't be choosers. I think that's everybody. Yeah, we'll go ahead and leave here. Now, when it split the gold, it should not have given any gold to the dead person. It didn't. But as you can see, when it split the gold, everybody has. The person in the front will sometimes have more because if there's any remainder, when it splits the gold, it'll tend to give the person in front whatever's left. So that's why he has 3 more gold than everybody else. So the next thing I need to do is go into the inventory of this character. And I'm going to go ahead and unequip all of his items because since I'm going to have to grab a new character, I don't want to have to buy new items. So I'm going to trade this stuff to the first character here. Trade. And trade. And then if we go to him, you'll see he has all 3 of those items in his inventory. Okay, so let's go grab another character real quick. Get back into the dungeon. Into the Trading Academy. I'm not going to read this again. You guys have seen this already. Let's go to create a new character. So now this is what I was talking about earlier, where if a character is dead, they will have the skull on there. So you can click delete if you want, but you can actually just go to create and it'll say, hey, it'll override him. That's fine. He was the knight, I believe. So let's see if we can get 3 good scores going here for the 3 that I want, which is going to be strength, agility, and endurance. Don't quite seem to be getting 3 decent scores right now. Hopefully it won't take too long. I should have went with that one. It wasn't too bad. Hopefully we'll get something here really quickly, because like I said, I don't want to bore you with all this. I'm trying to get back into the actual game. Oh, let's see. That's not too bad. The agility is a little bit lower than these, but that's okay. That'll work. We'll go ahead and make him a knight as well. And since the last one, let's see. We'll make him a damage dealer. And let's see. They had daggers, so those are short blades. I'm going to kick that up a couple points. I think he was wearing leather, so we'll just drop everything else in leather. And since we went with a... Well, I was going to go with a female. Yeah, we'll go with this. We'll go with a female. Penny to sword. There we go. I like that. Okay, so now we have 4 females and 2 males. We'll return to the game. And now, see, now if we go to train character, you'll see that the characters that we have, like he only needs 961 to level. But like the new character we have still needs 1,000. So we'll exit, leave a training hall, and we'll get back into the dungeon. It says you travel back to the old mines. So here we are back where we were. And this is where we fought the goblins. So I'm going to go this way. Oh, it says you encounter a trio of goblins who are training some wolves for combat. Feeding time. The goblins laugh to themselves as the wolves growl and move toward your party. Now, I can tell you that these wolves hit pretty hard, so... And he is guarding. So taking these guys out is really important. Because I think they have more health as well. Now, you won't know that as a player because it just says they're healthy. But I know that they do. So I'm going to go ahead and stun one of them. This one right here is guarding, but after I stun him, he won't be. He's paralyzed now. And let's go ahead. We'll go ahead and cast Divine Blessing again so we can kill things quicker so that everybody does more damage. Let's see. I keep getting some weird lag. I keep seeing something show up on... you guys can't see it, but I keep seeing it appear down in my Windows taskbar. Something keeps popping open, probably with the recording software. And sometimes when it does, the game like slows down temporarily. Now, I'm probably going to take a hit right here against this wolf. 6 damage. Okay, could have been worse. But he's only got 5 health, so I really don't want to see the entire party die. That would be terrible. Okay, go ahead and try and smack him. 14 damage, that's pretty good. And since this one is stunned, paralyzed, he really can't attack. So he is guarding, or he's not guarding anymore. Just try and start killing them as quick as I can. He's paralyzed, so he skips his turn. Three damage there. I'm getting a little bit worried about the damage everybody's taking. Alright. You know what? Actually, I'm just going to use my sling. This guy's near death. Let's see if we can take him out. Oh. I guess it helps if I hit aim first. I wondered why it wasn't working. Alright, now let's see who's in the worst shape. 7 health here. 12. Actually, that's not right. 5 health there. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and try and heal the guy with 5 health. Like I said, I apologize if this isn't the most exciting thing. I'm really just showing off the engine. Like I said, I don't promise to be like a great narrator, you know, or have the greatest speaking voice. Alright, I'm going to try and finish off these wolves pretty quickly. You know, because the idea behind this was really just to show you as much as I can about the game and how it works. Hopefully, if you like this sort of game, old school RPG, then you're already seeing something that you're going to enjoy when the project is complete. We'll go ahead and aim again. Let's see, injured, badly hurt. We'll go with badly hurt. She missed, so that was... Okay, I'm actually going to send her up here. Try and start smacking some of these goblins, because the more things that are beaten on us, the more damage we're going to take. Hopefully everybody can survive one more round without needing to be healed. 1 damage, so that's good. Let's see, he's got 7 health. That guy's badly hurt. Let's start taking out some of these guys. 5 health, yeah, we're in bad shape. That helps a little bit. That miss does not help though. And I will also say this, if you are in combat, like you're engaged with an enemy, cast Flaming Bolt, like you're right next to them, like let's say this character here who's not right next to them, if I move away from enemies, they get free attacks on me. So you want to be really careful when you're in combat that you don't move away from things. I'm actually not going to show you that because I don't want to get a character killed. I might show it off later, but right now it would probably be really bad. Oof. That damage is starting to stack up. In fact, how bad off is she? 6 health, she's a little better off than I thought. I gotta kill this wolf really quick. There we go. My chances of survival improved drastically. Just aim. There we go. Alright. Pulled through that battle. 49 experience points. And I'm going to go ahead and pick up some stuff. You know what? I just realized I had all that stuff and I didn't give it to the new character. The new character was fighting with nothing, I think. I didn't even notice that. So, I'm going to go ahead and... Now, I could equip a character with the stuff that I'm picking up. This stuff is useful. Or it is usable, I should say. So really quick, I'm going to go into here, and I'm going to trade all this stuff back to the character that should have it, since I made her fight with her bare hands and with no armor on. Okay, so let me go to that character real quick, and we'll equip this stuff. Equip. Actually, what's this dagger do? 1d4. What does this rusty mace do? Also 1d4. Okay, so no benefit there. Too bad. Okay, now we're going to camp. Now, before we camp this time, we're going to cast... Actually, let's do it this way. Cast a spell. Camp Camouflage. The area's covered in magical camouflage, so now let's rest. Now, the thing about Camp Camouflage is if you move from the spot, it stops working. So, let's rest until fully healed. And we could still be attacked. It only reduces the chance by like 50%, so there's no guarantees, but it's looking kind of good, though. Oh, damn. I spoke too soon. Goblins discover you while you're resting. They attack. Yeah, this is not good. All right. It's a slinger. We got up and knocked him out in one shot. It's a slasher, so he has a sword. All right, let's see if we can't take out this other slinger over here. At least do some damage to him. Because I have to tell you, in my experience, it's the ranged characters or the ranged enemies that do the most damage. Not because their weapons are more powerful, but just because you're not smacking them. But I'm going to rectify that because if you get next to a ranged creature, they actually can't use their ranged weapon anymore. Killing them is even more effective. 5 damage, 7 damage, so he's out. 14 damage, he's gone. Okay, so not a real tough combat, which is good. She has a sling, so she actually can't use it. So I'm actually going to... No, she only has 1 health. I'm actually not going to back her out of combat. I guess I'm going to go ahead and cast Flaming Bolt. Now, you can cast next to other characters, not next to enemies. That doesn't have any ill effect on you at all. Oh, damn. Killed my sorcerer. That really is awful. Wow. Okay, well. Oh, I'll tell you what. I am at the 1 hour mark on this recording. I really wanted to get through this entire dungeon, but having lost a spellcaster has kind of put a cramp on everything. So I'd have to run back to town to get a new spellcaster. you know, and I've already shown off an hour of the engine at this point. There's a lot of other things I could have shown, like well, actually, I'll show you something real quick. Um, even though we're wounded, I know I won't get attacked here. There are additional quests that you can pick up, obviously, but there's things like this. You can feel a breeze coming from the wall to the north. Now, I only saw that because I was searching. If I turn search off and come back, you'll see I didn't see that. Um, that was a clue that there's something there. And as you can see, I passed through a cleverly disguised secret door to reveal a hidden area. I'm going to actually end the video there because I feel like I've covered a lot of what was in this. Like I said, this is actually a full dungeon that can be explored. And if people want, I may actually fix it up a little bit more and release it as a demo so that people can actually get their hands on the engine and play around with it. But that's only if people want to do that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed a look at this at the game engine, and that you have some interest in the actual game when it's done. Take care.